Um, a less serious story idea that I had, dude. So I was thinking about this. It just popped. The weirdest. Sometimes the weirdest ideas pop into my head. A lot of times when I'm driving these days, it seems to be the common theme that I'll think of something like while I'm driving.
Mhm.
In this case, I was in the car. I was eating Chick-fil-A, and on Fridays, dude, I have like so Fridays are my cheat day, so I eat like super clean, super healthy, like calorie restrictive
Mhm.
diet 6 days out of the week, and then on Friday I have a cheat day. I'll have a little Chick-fil-A for lunch, and I'll have some pizza for dinner.
Yeah, classic.
And and so I'm eating Chick-fil-A in my car, and sometimes I'll put on like some guilty pleasure stuff on YouTube. Just go all out, man. Guilty pleasure food, guilty pleasure YouTube videos, and
Mhm.
one of my guilty pleasures,
Mhm.
not so guilty, I guess, but you kind of know what I'm getting at is
Yeah.
Chris Hansen, dude, the Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator videos.
Okay.
So, dude, for those unfamiliar, Chris Hansen, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows it by now, but Chris Hansen, reporter guy would basically, he still does it. He works with police to, they lure basically potential child predators to a house, a sting house, and then they arrest them. They have someone who's posing as a child, right? Who's like texting the predator. Predator shows up, and then Chris Hansen always his classic line, "Why don't you have a seat for me?" And then he starts asking them questions. He interviews them,
Mhm.
asks them questions, gets them to spill some of their secrets. Of course, I'm sure the police can use it later in court. Anyway, the excuse, and you've heard this, right? The excuse that they often give, probably like 7 out of 10 times, I would say, is like, "Oh, well, I was just worried, I was just coming to like check on the
Check on
kid. I
them.
was
Oh yeah. Oh
worried, yeah,
sure.
like, oh,
Sure.
yeah, oh, I was worried, I thought." And like sometimes they're like, "Oh, I'm afraid, I was afraid they were getting pimped out or
Mhm.
something or being
Mhm.
trafficked." So I thought, what if that was actually the case? Someone actually showed up. And what if
What if that person
not
was?
only
What if?
that,
What if they were Donkey
what if it
Kong
was what if it was the Punisher, dude? So instead of Hanson versus Predator, it's Hanson
versus
versus
the
Punisher.
Punisher?
So dude, you got freaking, and this will be a comic book miniseries, maybe like 8 issues, dude. You could never do it because you'd have to get rights to Chris Hansen's
Right.
likeness
Yeah.
and to Disney's
There
Punisher
must be
character.
a.
They'd
There
never.
must be a way.
Oh yeah, dude. Maybe who knows? You'd have to do like a parody where they're like, not quite them, but dude, Hansen versus Punisher, man. So you got like Chris Hansen, right? He's setting up the sting operation, and then
Punisher to
and then
rescue the kid.
yeah, yeah, and then they're talking
Okay.
to the who they don't realize yet is the Punisher online, basically saying like, "Hey,
And it has to be played by John Bernthal.
oh, yeah, absolutely." And they're like, well, yeah, it has to be drawn in his likeness
Yeah,
for
it has to be
sure.
drawn in his likeness for sure.
Well, yeah, and so they're texting who they don't realize yet is the Punisher, and it's like, "Hey, got a kid here,
Where
right?
is he?
$50, whatever." They're pimping out the kid, and then Punisher shows up, and yeah, it's like that. What you just said. Where is he? Chris Hansen comes out. He's like, "Sir, what are you doing here? Why don't you have a
What
seat
did you
for
ever
me?"
see?
But then and
Where's
then
the child?
Punisher.
Who are you?
Exactly. But so Punisher's saying that, but Chris Hansen's like, "Oh, well, it's the same old shtick,
Yeah.
it's
I'm here to protect
the
them.
exactly."
Yeah.
So the long and short of it is, I wanted to plan this out a little more. I didn't have time, but
Yeah. I love it, dude.
the long and short of it is that, like Punisher eventually escapes the Sting house. The police are after him. And then maybe you'd have a storyline too where like the mob is also after him, because Punisher won't kill cops, so you couldn't really have any fight scenes unless there's also a criminal element in there.
Mhm.
So you could have a side story where that comes into play, where like the mob is also after him for a different side quest that he went on. But dude, Chris Hansen's after him, and all he's trying to do, Chris Hansen's entire goal is to just get him to have a seat.
Right.
That's the whole.
Have a seat.
He's just trying to, and you know what I thought of? And this is going to be the thumbnail for the clip. Is like you have Chris Hansen, and then you have that image of Punisher sitting in the chair where he's just like, no, 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 no,
yeah.
no. That face.
You guys are getting this all wrong.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so it'd be Hansen versus Punisher. But that, yeah, you'd have to do some sort of midpoint twist because that would get old. So you'd have to have something in the midpoint where maybe they team up or something. But yeah, it'd be like the conflict would be between like, you know, vigilante justice versus Chris Hansen and the police doing justice the right way. Yeah. But that's Hansen versus Punisher, dude.
I love that idea, dude. That's a great idea. That is a great idea. It's so much fun. You know, I love stories. You know, I love shit like that. I mean, that's where the whole idea with, you know, the story that we mentioned here before, the Not You Donkey Kong story. I love shit like that. Just like obtuse, like, you know, like mashing things together. I love it.
Exactly, man. Dude, I think that would fly off the shelves.
Yeah, I agree.
Hansen versus Punisher.
I agree.
That would fly off the.
You should do it. You should do it like in an unlicensed way. You know, it's like every time I go to the stores, I always see like, oh, this is unlicensed, or like, you know, unauthorized shit like that. You should do something like that, dude. Just like some unlicensed, like unauthorized, like there's just like a fan thing. You know, like go to like a comic convention.
So you actually see stuff like that?
Yeah, all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, because I feel like I guess that falls in the realm of fan fiction.
Wasn't that the whole thing with like Del Pollak's like thing about George Lucas too, that it was like unauthorized?
Well, I think Lucas disowned it or something, but I don't know if that was after the fact or immediately. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess because what's the deal with fan fiction? It's like
I think it falls under fair use.
It's legal unless. I thought, well, because not all fan fiction's parody, though. I think fan fiction, it's legal until it makes a profit, and then it, like, if someone,
if you're turning
the
a
second
profit.
someone, I don't know if this is true. I don't know much about it because I don't, you know, I've never really written fan fiction, but I feel like that's the case, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like still, if you put this like if you did this hypothetically, like Hansen versus Punisher, and put it up online for. You know, for free, wouldn't it still be copyright infringement? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know much about that.
I don't know. And I think technically what you said to me, technically it could still fall under just like parody, you know.
Yeah.
I think that could protect you. I don't know. Anybody listening to this?
Parody would have to not be their No, because they use actual.
Yeah,
it can still be their names.
Yeah, it can be literally
because
their names.
If you watch like South Park, they still use like actual fictional characters, don't they? In South Park, like Imagination Land, they have a ton of fictional characters in that.
I don't know. I mean, they have little episodes of Mickey Mouse, you know, and the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, right. That's true. And Family Guy does that all the time too.
It's one of those things where it's like, somebody in the comments, if you're listening, you know, maybe you can educate us. But I think you would be able to do it and get away with it.
Yeah. Okay. And if you're a comic book artist, you know, maybe message me and we could work together. I'm willing to put, you know, in like, I don't know, a few weeks of my life toward this. Not that much. I'm not that passionate about
it. I'm with it, dude. I'm with it. I'm putting my effort towards materializing this as long as I get a free copy.
Yeah. Okay. Deal.
Love the idea, dude.